जय गुरुजी, Anantam Anantam Shukrana Guruji for this blessed day and blessed opportunity. Namaste Sangat ji, Jai Guruji everyone. एक बार फिर से आप सबका बहुत स्वागत है इस blissful reading, blessing ready for divinity by Commander Uncle. सबसे पहले मैं गुरुजी के सब प्यारी बेटियों को हैप्पी डॉटर्स डे विश करना चाहूंगी। हम सब वो बहुत ही फॉर्चुनेट और बहुत ही चोजन बेटियां हैं जिन्हें ये हक मिला है कि हम स्वयं महाशिव गुरुजी महाराज को अपना पिता, अपना परम पिता, अपना रक्षक, अपना सब कुछ कह सके। हमारा जन्म सफल हो गया। आई थिंक एक कन्या रूप लेकर, एक बेटी का रूप लेकर हमारा ये जन्म और ना जाने कितने जन्म सफल हो गए। बेअंत बेअंत शुक्राना गुरुजी महाराज हमें ये हक देने के लिए। एंड महाराज हम सब पर ये कृपा करिएगा कि हम इस काबिल बन सकें कि जिस तरह से हम सिर उठा के ये कह पाते हैं हम गुरुजी की बेटियां हैं, आपको भी हम पर गुमान हो, हम आपको रिप्रेजेंट कर सके। आपके जो सिद्धांत हैं, आपकी जो प्रीचिंग्स हैं, जो आपने एक सच का और एक गुरबानी का रास्ता दिखाया है, सही जीने का रास्ता दिखाया है, हम सब उस पर चल सकें और सही माने में आपकी बेटी होने का जो हमें ये हक मिला है उससे हम जस्टिस कर सके। बेअंत बेअंत शुक्राना मेरे मालिक। एंड विद दिस आई वेलकम तनुज कपूर आंटी जो कि हमारे बीच में हैं आज, और वो एक बहुत ही गुरुजी की प्यारी बेटी हैं, गुरुजी के हाथ की चुनी हुई बेटी हैं, पुरानी संगत है। वो आज इस बुक की रीडिंग करेंगे। ये हमारा बहुत बहुत सौभाग्य है कि हम एक तो कमांडर अंकल द्वारा लिखित बुक की रीडिंग सुनने जा रहे हैं और आज उसे तनुज कपूर आंटी सुनाने जा रही हैं, पढ़ने जा रही हैं। आपका हाथ जोड़ के अभिनंदन है तनुज कपूर आंटी। Over to you, Aunty. Thank you very, very much on behalf of entire Sangat and on behalf of Suresh Uncle and on behalf of entire group of Multilingual Shukrana Guruji Maharaj. Over to you, Tanuj Aunty. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Archie Aunty. I hope I have got the name right.
Ji Aunty, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for such a warm welcome. And what a nice way to begin today's session by celebrating daughters. All the lovely daughters, which includes Aunty, you, me, and all the other, like you so nicely put it, Guruji ki betiyan. And we are proud to be Guruji ki betiyan. And Guruji मुझे बड़े प्यार से समझा के गए हैं, नारी शक्ति सब तो प्रबल. So I think all daughters today, we are seeing how they are shining in every field. So I think it's a great blessing from Guruji that he has made us capable to take on any challenges. And so I think we will move on to the job at hand today. And for that, immense Shukrana Guruji for choosing me also amongst the readers for this very, very blessed book. And what a lovely name, Blessings Ready for Divinity. And it is written by Commander Uncle. I have read and listened to many of his satsangs, and he has also mentioned in the introduction that he didn't find himself capable to be able to pen down a book. But like we all know, Guruji आपका भाव देखते हैं, और जब आपका भाव इतना प्यारा है और आपका समर्पण इतना अच्छा है, तो गुरुजी आपको capable बना देते हैं. And he organizes everything for you, just as it has happened in Commander Uncle's case. So once again, Jai Guruji. Our Guruji is, I mean, there is no way that we can talk about his grace because it is Beant. So Shukrana Guruji Maharaj, and please do make me also capable to be able to read this chapter, which I have been given today. Today is Sangat ji, सबको नमस्ते, बहुत बहुत प्यार भरे नमस्ते. And today is session 3. And the title of the chapter, which I'm going to read, is Guruji Places His Hand Over My Children's Head. So I'll start reading the chapter. Oftentimes, it so happens that the suffering life puts us through turns out to be the crucial key to reaching Maharaj. When everything is going fine, we don't feel the need for God. We need God when we are troubled. If my daughter hadn't been unwell, would I still have made the effort to go to Maharaj? Maybe not. Thus, our suffering was a blessing in disguise. Once we were connected to him, we forgot about the issue, but Guruji did not. I never mentioned Shubha's medical condition to him. Yet, from the time I drove past Empire Estate, telling my wife that therein was a powerful guru who could cure our daughter, Shubha began to heal. After we shifted to Gurgaon, my youngest daughter, Ela, needed transportation to go to her school in Delhi. None was available in our remote locality. One person started a taxi service for school-going children and told us about it. My daughter was likely the only child using the taxi service at first. Remarkably, the day her schooling was complete, the taxiwala said he was not going to continue with this service. From the time we moved to Gurgaon till the time we needed it, the taxi was plying between Delhi and Gurgaon. Another issue we confronted was Shubha's admission to a school in Gurgaon. She had not sat for the class 11 exams because of illness and had to repeat the class in spite of being a brilliant child. Again, Maharaj came to her rescue. The principal of the Gurgaon school we went to took the initiative to save the year for Shubha. She proposed that Shubha prepare during the 2 months of the summer break for the class 11 exam to be specially organized for her. There was just one condition. She should clear the exam with over 80% marks to move to class 12. My daughter was admitted to class 11, even as she prepared at home for the exams. We also engaged the services of a tutor, and with Maharaj's grace, Shubha achieved the required percentage. The principal kept her promise and enrolled her in class 12. The principal later told us she had no idea why she did this, but that she was convinced that it was the right thing to do. That is how Guruji works. Absolutely, that's how Guruji works. When he feels something is right for someone, he makes everybody else feel the same. So I continue with Commander Uncle's experiences. And next he says, as we would go to Empire Estate every Saturday, we always requested Shubha's tutor to conclude her lessons early for that day. We also told her why. Years later, after Guruji had left his physical form, Shubha's tutor also went to Bare Mandir. She now regrets that she never evinced any interest in Guruji while tutoring Shubha. But we know better. Nobody goes to Guruji by choice. Guruji never puts that thought in our minds till he wants us in his presence. If he had wanted her to come, she would have reacted immediately. But she didn't, because he didn't want her to then. Getting the call or bulawa from Guruji early or late in life is not a value judgment on the fitness of the aspirant. Guruji does not differentiate between devotees. A mother loves her children just the same. She may treat them differently for a variety of reasons, but she will love them equally. Guruji healed Shubha with his invincible blessings. Her skin healed, leaving behind marks that began to fade, but her asthma persisted. I never mentioned this to Guruji, even though Shubha wanted me to. I reasoned that since Guruji knew all about my affairs, there was no need to tell him. Shubha did not take no for an answer and persuaded my wife to speak to Singla uncle, who agreed to take my wife and Shubha before Guruji. My attitude was that this was not my business. As they came before Guruji, He inquired about my daughter, asked for her name, and then told us to bring a copper tumbler, a lota, the next day. I mentioned to Guruji that Shubha had to go to Bangalore early next morning. Guruji said she would go a day later, only after taking his blessings. We just bowed our heads, touched his feet, and took leave. Shubha had to reach Bangalore the day after, before noon, to pay fee at her institute. It was 11 at night when we left straight for the airport. Improbably, there was a girl sitting at our airline counter, which should have closed much earlier. We requested her to shift Shubha's flight to the day after. She asked for her plane ticket, which we didn't have. However, she booked Shubha on the flight for the day after and merely asked her to show up with a cancelled ticket the next day. That done, she shut the counter and walked away as we left. This is how the universe obeys Guruji. When the Guru gives a hukum, every blade of grass bends to his divine will. The next evening, we took the copper lota and awaited his blessings. When he gestured, we went to him. He asked for my daughter's name, muttered something, blessed the lota, and gave it back to her. The day of her flight was a typical winter morning in the capital, full of fog with bad visibility. We worried that the flight may not take off and that Shubha would not make it in time to get herself registered for the next session, which had to happen before noon. Shubha's flight was the only one that took off that day. After that, the airport shut down operations. Following Guruji's orders meant that despite all odds, Shubha reached on time and paid her fee. And she was carrying with her the divine blessings of Maharaj in the form of the lota. And that lota did what it was supposed to do. She got better with time. Today, Shubha looks like she never had those issues. Jai Guruji. A question arises about the means used to effect healing. If there is nothing Guruji can't do, and if he is omniscient, why does he need a lota? Why does he choose to manifest his blessings in different ways? The means are not for him, they are for us. I knew I didn't need a lota to be blessed by Guruji, but my daughter felt she needed to let him know. So that is what he did. Guruji does not like intermediaries, bicholis, as he said, between him and his devotees, be it people, processes, or props. However, every devotee is not at the same level of understanding or connection with Guruji. Hence, he has different ways to instill confidence in his devotees to be able to receive his blessings. Guruji takes the disciple along the path he decides is best for the devotee. Everyone is connected to Guruji, but everyone has a different connection. The spiritual connection with Maharaj is akin to a customized syllabus for each one of his devotees. In the initial stages, a child is taught that A stands for an apple. He connects the two. Similarly, for some of us, a lota given by Guruji is a physical manifestation of his blessings. Our mind interconnects the two. Likewise, Guruji's Swarup and his blessings are interconnected. The langar and blessings are interconnected. The mandir and blessings are interconnected. But there is a point at which you don't need a prop to make a connection. You just look around and you see everything in Guruji and Guruji in everything. That is the ultimate connection. Siya Ram mein sab jag jani. The universe is nothing but the manifestation of Brahm. While devotees wait for this level of understanding, it is natural for them to have questions in mind. The mind needs answers so that it can grasp at faith. It needs something solid to hold on to by way of answers. Devotees do get answers to their questions. However, at the acme of our spiritual connection, all questions disappear and devotees don't seek answers anymore. In fact, They do not seek anything. There isn't anything they need to know. There is actually nothing to know. There are no questions. Only realization of the true nature of Brahm, Guruji. We can have everything that we desire, or we can have no desires whatsoever. Either way, we are at the same level. One can be a king who owns everything, or one can be a fakir or saint who needs nothing. One has all his desires fulfilled. The other has got rid of all his desires. They are both at the same level. A devotee who progresses through his connection with Maharaj slowly gets rid of that long laundry list of what he needs from Maharaj before he can be happy. There is no end to desires. That is why one who begs is never happy. When we search for happiness, we look around for things that will make us happy. If I have a Lamborghini, I will probably be happy. A sailing boat will make me happier. A 5-bedroom penthouse will further increase my happiness, and so on. With time, we realize that things don't give us happiness. Happiness is a state of mind. It's in our heart. Guruji gives us all that we need as well as that state of mind. When we know that we are loved by Guruji and that we too love him endlessly, nothing else matters. If we know what a cosmic embrace between a guru and his devotee feels like, then we know the true meaning of happiness. Knowing fully the varying temperaments and needs of his devotees, Guruji decides how to bless them. Since every devotee is unique, each will be blessed in a unique way. Comparisons are not required and may not even be desirable. Guruji's grace continued to bless Shubha as she progressed in her academic career. She completed her studies and went to the US for her MBA at Washington University, St. Louis, Missouri. She did well, but then the new administration changed the rules and she had to give up her job and come to India with no hope of getting back. Flying back from Liberty International Airport, Newark, she cried in front of Starbucks Cafe and spoke to Guruji. I don't care how you do it. I want to be back here in front of this Starbucks next year. And you have to do it, Guruji. This was not a request. Like a child fighting with her mother, a devotee too can remonstrate Guruji. And Guruji doesn't mind. Shubha came back broken-hearted to India. Here she applied for PhD courses in the US, but to no avail. Applications had already been processed in the winter while it was April here. Guruji's grace stepped in. Out of nowhere, Shubha got a call from a US university asking if she would be interested in joining a PhD course. Apparently, one of her friends from the Washington University had applied on her behalf when another shortlisted person dropped out as a doctoral candidate. Shubha had an interview over the phone and the university sent her a flight ticket. 3 days later, she was on a flight and did an in-person interview. She was returning from Newark, standing in front of the same Starbucks cafe when, lo and behold, she got a message from the university that she had been selected and should join on a given date. Guruji had done it. Shubha cried with joy and gratitude. She is now completing her PhD in Atlanta and everything is going on fine with Guruji's grace. The disappointment she endured gave her faith and impetus and courage. The important thing to remember is that while life will have its ups and downs, Guruji will always be there walking by our side, always holding our hand. When Guruji takes care of us, he takes care of our entire family, whether the other members come to him or not. It's not just one person in the family who gets blessed. but the entire family. The blessings my eldest daughter Jaya received show how. She had completed her studies and was desperately looking for a job. I never openly prayed to Maharaj about it. Soon she got a call for an interview from Delhi for the job of a quality assurance person. Jaya went there to be told by the reception desk that she wasn't listed among the invitees. She was never called in the first place. She had no chance because she didn't qualify and had no experience either. But she was nevertheless asked to sit down and wait. Every single candidate was rejected till she was the only one left, and the interviewers finally called her in. They looked at her documents and wondered why she had come. One of them proposed that she be given the job if she promised to learn the task and make it work. She said yes, and she had the job. At home, meanwhile, my wife petitioned Guruji. Her daughter had studied and worked hard. She prayed to Guruji to ensure a salary of 10,000 rupees per month. At the interview in Delhi, my daughter was asked if she was okay with Indian rupees 10,000 as salary, and she said yes. When Jaya returned home, my wife told her what she had prayed for. Jaya was a bit upset. She wondered why her mother hadn't asked Guruji for a salary of 30,000 Indian rupees. It's never enough, isn't it? Guruji heard that too. When she switched jobs, my daughter went through a simple interview and was offered a salary of 30,000 Indian rupees. As each devotee knows, we can speak freely to Guruji. He's not a remote God, but our very own near and dear one, our very loving and protective Father. He loves us so much that he hears us all the time. The fact that he's God is a different aspect altogether. We were never connected to God. We connected to a very loving, caring parent who meant everything to us and who brought us to the right path. Guruji's grace has been with Jaya throughout. When she was 23, we were looking to get her married and put up a matrimonial ad in the newspaper. That newspaper was being perused by a family in Faridabad for a potential groom for their own daughter. As they were looking through it, there was a knock at the door of their house. They opened the door to find a saintly figure, tall and handsome, standing outside. The lady of the house addressed him respectfully as Baba and asked what he wanted. He replied that he didn't need anything beyond a glass of tea. While she went to the kitchen to prepare tea, Baba told her husband that they should get their son married first. It will be good for you, he pronounced. The Baba advised them to start their search for a bride for their son, held the teacup in his hand, and walked away. No one had seen this Baba come or go in the area. The family followed his advice and began looking for a girl for their son. They found our daughter's ad in the matrimonial section and called us immediately. Things went well and the marriage was solemnized within a couple of months. When Guruji blesses us, the effort he puts in from his end is incredible. We go round in circles, but when we leave it to him, he holds our hand and takes us to a safe harbor. When my eldest daughter's marriage was being held, Guruji had given out invitations to the Sangat. Guruji told a sevak, who was responsible for seating devotees during satsangs, go to the venue and take care of the sitting arrangements, exactly as he would have done at the satsang. That was incredibly helpful since because of a problem I faced, I couldn't come to the venue on time myself. We had arranged everything out in the open at the venue when suddenly, around 6 in the evening, a big storm threatened to disrupt the program. My wife came out, looked at the sky and just said, "Ye kya kar rahe ho, Guruji?" What are you doing, Guruji? Within 5 minutes, the storm stopped. The sevak sent by Guruji and the Sangat present coordinated the shifting of the external arrangements to the hall inside. Rearrangements were made, and by 8, dinner could start. By the time I reached the venue, people had already had dinner and were looking for me. The function went well, not because I had anything to do with it, but because Guruji knew that I would not be able to take care of it myself and had intervened beforehand, positioning his sevak so that it could be coordinated properly. That is how loving our Guruji is, and that is how kind his Sangat is. He takes control of our lives, but he takes only as much control as we allow by giving up our control. After Jaya got married, she moved to Noida and didn't quite like the place. She told Guruji mentally that she wanted to get out of there. That night, Guruji came in her dream and told her not to worry. In 2 years, she would be abroad. The next morning, she called her mother, upset that Guruji was sending her out of the country when all she wanted was to move out of Noida. I told Jaya to be careful about what to ask from Guruji because she would get it. Best things happen when you let Guruji handle it, I advised. Just about a year and a half later, her husband went to Germany for work. His foreign colleagues liked him and asked him to join them. 3 months later, my daughter and her husband were in Germany, where they have happily settled ever since. It was precisely 2 years from the time Jaya had that dream. Guruji listens, and if he thinks something is for his devotees' good, he makes it happen quickly. But he sees what we don't even remotely see and understand. Therefore, when things don't happen as per our demands, we shouldn't worry. Only he knows what is good for us. We don't. If a child asks for a knife, do the parents simply hand it to him? No, they don't. No mother will ever allow a child to endanger himself or herself, no matter how much the child may cry. Guruji is our mother. He knows what is good for us, so never question him. If possible, never ask. If you do ask, be very careful about what you ask. Guruji's blessings also flowed abundantly for my youngest daughter, Ila, who is a cool devotee of Maharaj too. She cleared her class 12th with great marks and applied for admission to engineering colleges. Then, one Saturday, when we went to Guruji, he gave her a special blessing. As we got Agya to leave, Guruji asked her to go to the back end of the darbar and meditate. We had already taken Agya, so we waited outside. Ila sat there, soaking in the bliss, the fragrance, the ambience. Much later, Maharaj asked for us to be called inside the darbar to join Ila. It was around 1:30 in the morning, with just a handful of Sangat seated around Maharaj. Guruji got one of the sevaks to prepare Kada Prasad and gave it to the Sangat. We were then allowed to leave. The next day, my daughter gained admission to Amity University, Noida. The next Saturday, we visited Empire Estate and mentioned to Guruji about these blessings, just as we would tell our parents. My wife walked up to Guruji and thanked him for Ila's admission. फौजियों का काम तो मैं ऐसे ही कर देता हूं, Guruji replied. That is, he always blesses military men easily, without much persuasion. He made a similar remark when Jaya was blessed with a son. We came to Guruji and my wife told him about the happy circumstance. Guruji said the son had been born because of his blessings. In a sense, everything that happens in our lives happens because of Guruji's blessings. Ila never wanted to go abroad, but Guruji had other plans for her. Her employer offered to send her to the US, but there was a little chance she could obtain the H1B1 visa. We still encouraged her to try. The next thing we knew, she was on her way to the US. She even got promoted recently while COVID-19 was rampant and people feared for their jobs. Who can do this? How can it happen? It happens because of Guruji Maharaj. One of the biggest blessings Maharaj has given us, taking away our worries regarding our children. They are now his children. We all are his children. We all now belong to him. We are basically his problem to resolve and make better. He has complete control of our lives. I sometimes wonder if my generation of devotees had too many questions that had to be answered before we could submit ourselves to Guruji's will. Our children seem to have had a straighter and simpler path to him, devoid of any process or rituals. Shukrana Maharaj. Sangaji, here the reading of this chapter ends. It is a beautiful chapter wherein Commander Uncle has recounted all the blessings Guru Maharaj has showered upon his family, especially his children. It is indeed a very, very well-written book. First of all, Commander Uncle, Uncle Ji, thank you so very much for sharing with us Guruji's blessings on your family, and especially your children. I hope while reading the chapter earlier, I could feel your love, your devotion towards Maharaj. And I only hope that I have been able to convey the same through my reading. Even if in a small percentage I have been able to do that, I thank Guruji Maharaj. Uncle, in my view, and Sangaji, the book has been written so well that it takes the reader along from one thought to the next. Each blessing from Guruji, as experienced by Commander Uncle and his family, is felt by us. There is so much bhav and devotion in each word that I'm sure it will fulfill Guruji's desire of Sangat Jodo. Those who are not yet connected to Maharaj, those who are not his Sangat as yet, will surely be inspired to reach his Darbar and take his blessings once they have heard or read this book. Personally, for me, many blessings and messages in this chapter resonated with me. In fact, I was transported to Chota Mandir in Empire Estate. The memories of those blessed years are my treasured wealth too. And I can never adequately express my gratitude to Guruji for the love and blessings he has showered on my children, and his grace continues to flow on my grandchildren too. Commander Uncle Ji, thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us. If I may just take a few minutes more, I would like to highlight a few aspects of this chapter.
Ji, Aunty, please carry on, Aunty, please.
Yeah, may I take a few more minutes?
Aunty, please, we have enough time. Please do that. That would be so nice.
Okay,
please.
Right. Of course, the entire chapter is, like I said, it just transports you to each situation. There are so many situations, and over so many years that Commander Uncle has conveyed to us in this one chapter. But there are some which I think are, for me, I felt very, very important. And the first one I'm going to share is where Uncle mentions about Shubha's admission to class 11, and wherein the teachers felt that she needed to repeat a year because of illness. I am also personally reminded of my daughter's experience. This is in Hyderabad. My daughter she had finished class 11 and was moving to class 12. In 11, she had taken one of the subjects as maths. But unfortunately, that was not her strong point. And because of maths, her overall percentage was coming down. So one of the teachers suggested, why not take economics? Now, end of 12th, end of 11th, and she too was to go into 12th. So, the principal was not very sure. Firstly, we needed permission from the CBSE board, which was in Delhi. Just to cut it short, I told the principal, let me do that. If I am able to get that permission from the CBSE board, will you give her a chance? She says, sure, I will. And so I came to Delhi from Hyderabad. And of course, I had to do some amount of running around. But Guru Maharaj gives us the strength and he opens all the doors. I didn't realize then that Maharaj was working for me and making things work for me. So we got the permission from the CBSE board in Delhi and we went back to Hyderabad. And now the problem was that how is she going to cover the syllabus, the entire class 11 syllabus before she, after the summer break, she was to join class 12. So Sangaji, the economics teacher on his own, he came forward and he said, these 2 months, I will coach her. We didn't know him from before. He didn't take any money either. But through those 2 months, he coached my daughter in economics and she was ready with the entire class 11 syllabus when she joined class 12 after the summer break. And of course, with Guru Maharaj's grace, she did very well in her class 12th. So, Uncle, this satsang about Shubha reminded me so much of what had, how Guru Maharaj had blessed my daughter too. It never struck me earlier, but when I went through this, I realized. So this is what happens, Sangatji. So many times when we listen to the Sangat sharing of other devotees, other Sangat, we realize, oh, Guruji Maharaj has done this for me. He blessed this also. He blessed my children with this also. Shukrana, Guruji Maharaj, immense Shukrana. And the next thing which I want to, yes, there's such a beautiful line which says, when the Guru gives a hukum, every blade of grass bends to his divine will. So that's what it is. That's what it means to have complete faith and complete surrender. We should leave it to him, like Commander Uncle has said, because when he decides what is right for us, he will give the hukum. And when he gives the hukum, every blade of grass bends to his divine will. Yes, there's another beautiful line which I want to highlight. Guruji does not like intermediaries between him and his devotees. How many times we have heard this? And it is true. When we, after introducing a Sangha to Guruji, when we step back, Guruji's magic takes over. And personally, I have seen so many times I have introduced people to Guruji, and about a month or two later, they call me and they can't believe the blessings they have received. So, however, every devotee is not at the same level of understanding or connection with Guruji. Hence, he has different ways to instill confidence in his devotees to be able to receive his blessings. So I think that a big message here is that we don't compare ourselves to anybody. Our faith towards Guruji, each one is different. Some may have some questions in their minds, some may just surrender immediately. So that is between the Sangat and Guruji. And the next paragraph is also so very, very meaningful and beautiful. It says, we can have everything that we desire, or we can have no desires whatsoever. Either way, we are at the same level. One can be a king who owns everything, or one can be a fakir or saint who needs nothing. One has all his desires fulfilled. The other has got rid of all his desires. They are both at the same level. And the most wonderful thing is a devotee who progresses through his connection with Maharaj slowly gets rid of that long laundry list of what he needs from Maharaj before he can be happy. Sangaji, I'm sure all of us have experienced that. slowly and gradually, but surely, our priorities become what Guru Maharaj wants from us. And that is his blessing. That for us, happiness is whatever Guru Maharaj gives us. Moving forward, yes. It says, yes, with time we realize that things don't give us happiness. How true that is. Happiness is a state of mind. It's in our heart. Guruji gives us all that we need as well as that state of mind. This is the most important thing that happens. The state of mind that Guruji changes. He makes our attitude positive. He gives us more patience. And he also makes us realize that Guruji has heard me. Guruji knows. Now I must leave it to him. And once Guruji in Chote Mandir, when I tried to remind him about something, he told me in a very, very sweet way, Guruanu ik vari kaida, bar bar nahi kaida. So he teaches us patience and he gives us that state of mind, which so nicely Uncle Ji has put. When we know that we are loved by Guruji and that we too love him endlessly, nothing else matters, Sangaji, nothing else matters. And another important statement. This is about Uncle Ji's daughter, Shubha. It says, the disappointment she endured gave her faith and impetus and courage. It's so true. Setbacks in life, either they break us, or if we have Guruji with us, then they take us forward with more strength and more resolve. So the important thing to remember is that while life will have its ups and downs, Guruji will always be there, walking by our side, always holding our hand. Sangaji, here I'm reminded of once I was listening to a Shabad, and the Kirtaniya, he was also giving the Vyakhya of the Shabad. And I remember some part of it that God, Guru Maharaj, always tests his Sangat also. One is that. And the second thing is, he wants to bring out the best from us, from within us. And for that, there are disappointments in life, setbacks in life. The Vyakhya that was coming through that Shabad was that, just like like a person who is making some utensils, vessels, he is hammering the metal from above. It is giving it, hammering it, giving it pain. But at the same time, एक हाथ उसके नीचे है. जो भी यूटेंसिल है, एक हाथ नीचे होता है और दूसरे हाथ से he is hammering that utensil just to give it the desired shape that he wants it. So does he want to hurt the utensil? Does he want to disfigure the utensil? Not at all. He's just molding it to the desired shape that he wants it. So this is the same thing about our Guruji. When there are disappointments, there are failures, these are our testing times. But let's not forget, Guruji ka haath hamesha hamare saath hai. He will never let us fall. So blessed are we that we have Guruji Maharaj not only as our Guru, but as the Paramatma, as we now realize. So Uncle Ji, thank you so very much for penning down these beautiful experiences, these blessings for all of us, and to further strengthen our connect with Guruji Maharaj and to make us realize how fortunate we all are. And Shukrana Maharaj, Shukrana Guruji for giving me this opportunity to be able to read one chapter from this blessed book of yours. However, if I have made any mistakes, please do forgive me, Guru Maharaj, and Commander Uncle Ji, please do overlook my mistakes. Thank you, Sangat Ji. Thank you, Multilingual, for giving me this opportunity. Jai Guruji.
Jai Guruji, thank you so much, Tanuj Aunty. It was such a beautiful reading. I personally am a person, there are always different kind of persons who would read and understand, some would listen and understand. I generally can only read and understand and relate. But your reading was so clear, it was so from the heart, it was so relatable, and it was so penetrating that I mean, the entire, though I've never been to Empire State or I've never been in that era when Maharaj was physically present, but you so smoothly, in line with Commander Uncle's book, drifted us along to that era. And yes, Auntie very rightly said by Commander Uncle, very beautifully explained by you too, that whatever's happening in our lives is with will of Maharaj. And the line which made me smile was, we are basically his problem. I mean, this actually made me smile broadly that, oh, yes, I'm his problem. He'll solve me to his convenience and to his corrective parameter. And yes, Auntie, satsangs like the ones Uncle has shared and even you shared regarding children, this is so relatable and it's so important for new sangat like us, Auntie, because ये सब कुछ हमारे साथ भी होता है. जैसे अंकल ने जया का शोभा का बताया, उनकी एजुकेशन के लिए कैसे या किसी कन्वेंस के लिए कैसे पॉलिसी चेंज हो गई, एंड आपने बताया जैसे अपने बच्चे का एक्सपीरियंस बताया. आई टू इन 10 years back when I did not even know that Maharaj is holding the reins of my life, similar thing had happened with me. एंड अंडे क्या होता है कि हम लोगों ने क्योंकि वो फिजिकली वो एरा नहीं देखा, हमारा लॉजिकल माइंड एज मच एज वी आर बाउड इन हिज चरण एंड शरण, लेकिन एक लॉजिकल माइंड और इफ्स एंड बट्स क्रीप इन कर जाते हैं कि कोइंसिडेंस है. लेकिन जब हम ऐसे सत्संग पढ़ते हैं, जैसे आपका आपके सत्संग सुनते हैं, तो पता चलता है यस एग्जैक्टली दिस इज द सेम फोर्स which was working for me, for my son, for 1 year. Entire policy of the board, the CBSE board had changed. I mean, it changed for his convenience for a very short period of time and got back to the old policy. So who was the force behind? So clearly I know who was the force behind today. And yes, it is very important that these books, such satsangs, should be penned down and should be shared on different platforms for the generations like us who've not met, experienced Maharaj in his physical form, but are experiencing the similar kind of mystique and magic. We are experiencing exactly, Auntie, if I'm not exaggerating, we are experiencing exactly what you have experienced, or other Sangat or Commander Uncle who have been there with Maharaj in his physical form. जो जो उन्होंने एक्सपीरियंस किया है वैसा ही हम कर रहे हैं. और जब आप लोग ऐसे सत्संग शेयर करते हैं तो हमारे लिए वो सब कुछ वैलिडेट हो जाता है. That explains it all, why Maharaj started this whole system of satsang sharing. I mean, thank you so much, Tanuj Aunty, for doing this beautifully.
Aunty, you are right
Yeah.
that the Guruji उस वक्त हम समझ नहीं पाए कि गुरुजी क्यों अपनी वडियाई कराते हैं, सत्संग शेयरिंग कराते हैं. But with time, कहते हैं ना, it is Guruji's timing when he wants you to realize, and as you get deeper and you realize that he always had the larger good in mind. Always he said, "Hor sangat le aao, hor sangat le aao, sangat jodo," because he wanted to bless so many people. He wanted people to go back to divinity, to start appreciating divinity. And हम सब देख रहे हैं that when we listen to other satsangs or read the satsang, Guru Maharaj makes us realize the blessings he has done on us, and it further strengthens our faith, and it strengthens the faith of the new Sangat. Auntie, you mentioned that you have new Sangat is experiencing the same blessings and miracles from Guruji. It is this, we are all his Sangat. The timing may be different, and the timing is decided by Guruji Maharaj. A Sangat who joined in 2006 is also an old Sangat. Similarly, someone who joined in 2000, someone who joined in 79, someone who joined in 75. So who's new, who's old? Yes, the people who have had the I would say, the immense fortune of meeting Guruji Maharaj in person, I think that is also his plan. Somebody needs to be there to tell what Paramatma looked like when he took the human avatar. So Guruji's grace is there for all of us. Thank you so much once again, Commander Uncle Ji, for this book. And I'm sure as we read along, more and more miracles and more blessings will unfold. Thank you. Jai Guruji.
जय गुरुजी आंटी, जय गुरुजी संगत जी। थैंक यू ऑल वेरी मच। महाराज से आज्ञा लेते हैं। आज्ञा महाराज, बेअंत शुक्राना महाराज। इस सेवा में हमसे किसी से कोई भूल चूक गलती हो महाराज हमें माफ करिएगा। थैंक यू वेरी मच गुरुजी महाराज। बेअंत शुक्राना, कोटि कोटि प्रणाम। आज्ञा महाराज।
शुक्राना गुरुजी, आज्ञा दो गुरुजी।
जय गुरुजी, शुक्राना गुरुजी, बहुत बहुत शुक्राना।
जय गुरुजी, शुक्राना गुरुजी। Thank you, Aunty, for so beautiful satsang. Thank you.
शुक्राना गुरुजी, अनंतम शुक्राना। आज्ञा दे गुरुजी।
आज्ञा गुरुजी, शुक्राना।